so we'll get started. Welcome to your mat. My name is Abigail. For those of you who are new to me, this is Foundations Level 1 Yoga. And I mentioned just a few minutes ago, if you just popped on for some details about props, 2 blankets, if possible, would be really helpful today. And then you see this funky chair, it's a yoga chair on purpose with the back out of it. And that sort of mimicked in your home by a dining chair or a desk chair might work. No worries if that's not possible. We can also use a wall if you're close to a wall, or a couch. So I'll give some other suggestions as we practice today. That's really more towards the end of our class. And if you practiced with me yesterday, or have just been following what I've been working this week, is the core sheath. So we're focusing on sort of the trunk area that supports the body. And with that, we'll take some opportunity to kind of see how the core affects all sorts of postures. So this practice is really well-rounded. We'll do some back bending, some forward folding, side bending, so you'll get kind of the whole deal. And with the core, we sort of flip perspective too. A lot of inversion poses where the heart is higher than the head are also really great opportunities to check in with the core. A lot of those poses fall into this sheath. So don't worry, we're not gonna go crazy and go on our hands or anything. We are gonna practice a little bit of just being in a few mild inversions today. And that's why we've got a peak pose that's actually a restorative pose that I think you'll really enjoy. So once you've got your 2 blankets, those are sort of your prime tools, and any sort of chair will work for later. We're gonna start on our backs, but I would like for you to take one of those blankets that you have, and we wanna make a roll up with the blanket. So if you have sort of the fringy blanket and on one side, you'll wanna roll from the non-fringe side and make this sort of tube bolster thing with your blanket. Now mine is about the width of my mat, and I'm gonna roll almost all the way full. Once I've got that, then I'm gonna come to lie on my back with my shoulder blades catching right at the tip of this setup. So we already are gonna drop into a pose that gets the heart above the head. Now, as you lie back, I'm sort of catching right underneath the armpits here. As you lie back and you notice like, whew, okay, this is already pretty intense for my chest, you can unroll your prop for less height in the setup. If the head is sort of way jutted out, your chin is sort of to the back wall or whatever's behind you, you may consider something under your head as well. Sometimes I even like to just put my hands under my head. That brings my chin down a little bit, my neck in line with my spine. And then the other thing here is the legs and the low back. So I'm gonna keep my knees bent. When I straighten my legs, sometimes my low back does not like that. So you're welcome to bend the knees, extend the legs long. Find a setup in your lower body that allows you to be supported. And then here we are in our first pose with the heart getting a nice lift, the lungs as well. And when you're ready, you're set up, please close your eyes and begin to drop in. And so allow for this first shape to serve as the transition from whatever your morning routine was today. Sort of let that go as you come into the space of your practice. Soften your jaw, soften your tongue. And once you're ready in your physical body and fairly still here, please find your breath. Notice your inhale, your exhale. And the diaphragm is part of the core sheath family. So So if we have a healthy breath, we can support a healthy core. And so as you breathe, notice the fall and rise of your chest. Is it possible you could rise and fall your belly a little bit too? And then maybe notice the back body breath as well. So your prop, if you have one underneath your shoulder blades, it may give you some back lung feedback as you breathe in and out. We'll spend a few more moments here. Be in the experience of your breath. Allow for the expansion of your chest, belly as you inhale. And then return to still, soft, complete exhale. Let it go. Let's take about 5 more rounds of breath here. Maybe at this point in the pose, you could come into that slightly deeper, more intentional breath. Soften your tongue, soften your jaw. Bottom of your next exhale or two, similar to how we exit Shavasana. So just start to rock your head a little bit side to side. You may bring some awareness back to your fingers, your toes, wherever your arms and legs are. Just start to move a little bit, bringing some awareness back to body. And then from here, you'll slowly bend your knees, feet on the floor, and with no rush, you'll roll to one side, doesn't matter which side, and just take a moment to pause, so honor that transition for a breath. And then, without making it too big of a thing, we want to keep our energy pretty soft, and you'll just remove your setup if you used a blanket for our first shape, and just push that off to the side and come back to your back. From here, once you're back on your back, please bend your knees, feet on the floor, and walk your heels back so they're closer to your sitting bones. Arms down by your sides, palms face down for a moment, and then check out heart space, back body. How does it feel to be supine without some assistance of a prop? And then from here, we'll start a little more dynamic movement. So arms down by your sides, palms face down, knees are bent. And with an inhalation, you'll start to lift your hips up, push into your feet, and open the fronts of your thighs, push down through your heels, lift your whole front of pelvis up to the sky. And then as you exhale, slowly lower pelvis back down. Inhale again as your lift. Press your arms down to lift chest, hips up. And then exhale, lower slowly back to the mat. So we'll do a couple more times just with the lower body. Inhale, lift up, press through your feet, firm your buns. Exhale, lower down. Maybe with each one you get a little bigger. Inhale, lift up, open front of chest. Exhale, lower down. Let's do 3 more. Inhale, lift. So Setu Bandhasana variation, heart higher than head. Exhale, lower. Last 2, inhale, lift. Firm your buns, firm your hamstrings. Lift your hips up. Exhale, lower down. And last one, inhale, lift up. Press into the feet. Exhale, lower. Take a round of breath, pelvis on the mat, pause. From here, arms will stay by your sides for now, but we'll add in a reach overhead. So as you inhale, same work with the lower body. Scoop your tail under, lift your hips up, and then add in your arms as you reach them overhead. Backs of your hands land maybe above your head. Exhale as your lower of your pelvis and your arms. Inhale, push into the feet, lift the front of your spine, puff your belly, your chest, reach your arms overhead. Exhale, slowly lower pelvis to the mat. Couple more. Inhale, reach. Setu Bandhasana variation. Reach through the side bodies, firm your buns. Exhale, lower. 3 more. Inhale, lift up. Press into the feet, reach through the fingers. Exhale, lower. Inhale, reach up. Soften your jaw. Exhale, lower. Last one here. Inhale, lift. Open the fronts of your thighs. Puff your belly, puff your chest. Reach. And exhale. Bring it down. Whew. Check your buns, your hamstrings. Mine are kind of on fire. Pause. Breath. Be easy here. All right, last thing on our backs here. So from your supine shape, you'll lift your legs so that your shins are parallel to the ceiling. I'd like you to bring your knees together. So rather than hip distance, we want to squeeze the inner thighs together. So the adductors are part of our core sheath as well. So squeeze your knees together like you're trying to squeeze and squish something between your inner thighs. You can let your feet be soft. We don't have to activate the feet. And then arms are going to go straight up to the ceiling, palms face one another. But again, I want you to be soft in the wrists, soft in the hands, soft in the feet, so we can isolate the core. So notice already, with your knees stacked over your hips, if your low back is lifted, see if you can push your low back down into the mat to pull your low belly down, low ribs in. And then we're just sort of hovering awkwardly here with our hands in space and our feet really soft and our low belly firing. If you already feel enough in this held position, stay. If you don't feel enough, keep your legs squeezed together and extend your feet forward a few inches. Now my knees are now past my hips at an angle. Don't forget to breathe. Soften your jaw. Pull that low belly down, press the low back gently into the mat, stay here. Or maybe one more notch, reach your feet a little bit further away. See if you can focus primarily on the hug of your inner thighs together and the pull of your low belly down, core engaged. Last big breath, you've got it. Nice job. You can counter pose however you like. I kind of like to let my knees just naturally knock in and wide, but you're welcome to hug them together or take a few rocks. We're going to do a second set. When you're ready, shins parallel to the ceiling. Get your legs organized first. So hug the legs together. Firm your inner thighs. Soften your feet. Let them be really passive. And then pull the low belly down. So you can imagine a press of your low back into the mat. Like again, you're trying to squish something underneath the lumbar spine. And then arms straight up, sort of that zombie style. Soften your wrists, your hands. And then see about the deep breath with this sneaky core work here. Breathe. Pull the low belly down and keep your face soft. And then notice if you feel enough. So ideally we're a little bit uncomfortable, but we're not in pain. So if you are starting to be too comfortable, start to bring your legs further away. And then re-engage low belly. Pull low belly down, flatten low back, soften jaw, soften face. Squeeze those inner thighs together. Hug your knees and inner thighs super close. Last notch, go a little bit further and hold. Soften feet and hands. Pull low belly down. One more big breath or two here. You've got it. Squeeze legs together. Feel free to counter pose as you wish. And then with no hurry, you can rock and roll on your spine a little bit if you want, or just roll off to one side and press yourself up to a seated position. Great, so from our seated work here, you may want to sit on a blanket. I think that that's really helpful to get the hips a little bit higher. So maybe grab that other blanket or unroll your roll-up if you had one. I think I'll actually turn and face you for this. And we'll take both legs long, Dandasana. So sit really tall, move any extra booty flesh out of the way so we're right on the sitting bones. And then start to firm your thighs. Push out through your heels, spread your toes. And with an inhale breath, reach your arms up like you're doing Urdhva Hastasana in your upper body. Reach really, really tall through the sides of your waist. Pull your belly back, low ribs back to stack right over the center of your pelvis. And then bring your right hand outside your right hip. And your left arm will form a little arc as you side bend gently to the right. Now, don't forget about your legs. Push through your feet, spread your toes. And gently start to lengthen that left side. Fingers on the left go long. Left outer hip stays grounded to your mat or to your blanket. What's your belly doing? Pull your navel slightly back and maybe a little to the left. Like you want to peek underneath your left armpit. Last breath, firm your thighs, spread your toes. Good, use an inhale breath to come to center, Urdhva Hastasana in your upper body. Reach up. Lengthen the sides of your waist, squeeze your legs together, firm your inner thighs, and then we go other side. Left hand plants outside left hip, and right arm finds a nice arc. Lengthen your side right body here. Pull your navel back. Firm the navel to the spine. Firm your legs. And then find a little more reach through your right fingers. From the reach of your right fingers, keep your right outer hip rooted. And maybe you can peek a little underneath your right arm for a slight twist open to the right. Here's your last breath. Really nice. Inhale through center, arms stretch up, Urdhva Hastasana. Pull the belly back, squeeze your kneecaps to your thighs, hug your legs together. Super active Dandasana. And then relax legs, arms, pause. From here, you'll take your left foot in, so our seated series here. Left heel will pull in, left toes point forward. My left heel is actually touching my blanket, so I'm trying to pull that knee in really close, or heel in, excuse me. Right leg out to the right on the diagonal. From here, right hand to outer right hip. Inhale, lift your left arm up. As you exhale, take a little hook of your left elbow inside of your left knee. And inhale, lengthen in the center. Pull the navel back, and as you exhale, start to twist a little to the right. I like to start to sneak my right fingers behind me, the base of my right hand on my tail, and I can gently roll my right shoulder back to get a little chest opener on the right. Inhale, get a little more length, like you want to float off your blanket. Exhale, twist, belly, core, heads to the right. That's really subtle. Keep your head in line with your spine. What's your right leg doing? Firm your right heel. Take another breath right here. And then keep everything the same, but de-rotate your head. Start to look over your left shoulder. You may feel a little pull on the right side shoulder, right side neck. Breathe. Bottom of your next exhale, bring head back in line with spine. Release arms, legs, Dandasana. Find your staff pose. Push through your heels, spread your toes. Squeeze your legs strong and lift up through the sides of your waist. Pull navel back. Great, and then we'll do the other side. Right leg pulls in, right heel as close as you can to your prop or to your right sitting bone, and then left leg extends wide, long to the left. Now, inhale, lift, left hand outside left hip, right arm goes tall, and then as you exhale, hook the right arm inside the right knee, I'm still facing forward. I haven't even twisted yet. Inhale, lift through the center. Get really long. Firm your left foot. And then as you exhale, start to bring your core, your belly to the left. Keep the navel pulled back as you rotate to the left. Maybe sneak your left hand behind you a little bit more. Find the base of your spine as you roll your left shoulder back. And then inhale, get a little bit taller. Exhale, twist belly left. You can press a little bit right arm and right inner thigh together. What's your left leg doing? Keep your left thigh strong. Take another breath here. And then keep everything the same, but start to de-rotate your head and start to gaze over your right shoulder instead. You may feel a nice pull across the left collarbone, left side neck. Take another breath. Stay tall, stay lifted, left leg strong. And then super slow, head back to center. Release legs, this time back to Dandasana with an addition. So firm your legs, squeeze your thighs together, spread your toes. Inhale, reach your arms up. As you exhale, start to fold forward like 2 inches, not very far. My arms are in line with my ears. My legs are super active. I'm trying to push the feet away. You can absolutely bend your knees. That will help with some hamstring pulling if you're feeling that. But we're sort of hovering on a diagonal above our thighs. And then inhale, come out of your hip flexion a little bit, lift up. And then as you exhale, reach a little further and hold, hover. Don't let your belly rest on your thighs, so zip it back towards the spine. Can you squeeze your legs together more and push your heels forward more? Another notch. Inhale, find a little more length. You can lift up slightly. Exhale, find a little more hinge. Any bend in the knee is a-okay. Firm your thighs. Lift the belly up, 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 up. Last big breath. Reach through your fingers. Good. And then from here, you can soften your legs for a moment. Hands maybe to the floor and just gently, really, really gently relax your head for a moment. You can bring your chin slightly towards your chest. Release through the upper back, the neck. So really subtle. And then when you feel ready to transition, we'll find our Navasana before we head into some kneeling work. So you can ditch your blanket. If it is helpful to have the blanket, you're welcome to keep it to sort of be on the tail as we do this next work. So you'll find your seat here, whether you're on your mat or your blanket, and bring your feet in front of you, the distance of your hips, please. Arms behind you, fingertips behind you. My fingertips are facing my heels, and I'm gonna wrap my shoulders together on my back to lift my chest. Now, the tendency is this big sort of belly splay forward, so we wanna lift the chest, but we wanna pull navel in, almost like you wanna do a little bit of a tuck in your tail. Then lean back and lift your legs. Let's bring the feet together. Let's make it even harder. Hug your inner thighs towards one another. So inner thighs super strong, adduction. And maybe if you feel stable, you could hover, don't hold, but hover your fingertips underneath your knees. Now, tendency is for big round in the spine. We don't want that. We want to lift. Chest up, heart up, belly back. Hug your inner thighs together. Lift more through the crown of your head and your sternum. Squeeze your legs more. Zip your belly back away from the fronts of your thighs. Woo! One more breath. You might wobble a little bit. That's okay. Bottom of your breath. Release your feet. Take a moment to pause in a position that's comfortable. Lengthen your spine. Find your breath. And of course we do a second set. So here we go. Find your lean back slightly, right? So lean a little back, fingertips on the floor behind you, my fingers face my heels. And then again, organized spine already. Roll the shoulders back, lift your chest, lift your heart. And then pull belly back, navel to spine. When you're ready, lean back a little more, lift your feet. You're welcome to keep your hands on the floor. This is still great work with your hands down to support you. If you're looking to float hands behind the knees, maybe touch slightly with your fingers and hug your inner thighs together. What's your spine doing? What's your heart doing? Pull your sternum up, your crown of your head taller, and your belly back. Maybe if you're feeling really strong, you lengthen your arms forward like you want to touch your feet. That caused me to round a little bit, lean back, so I'm going to come back to the knees. Take another breath wherever you are. Pull your belly to your spine, squeeze your legs. Lift your chest. Last breath. Nice job, everybody. Release. And then let's relax through the belly with some cat and cow. Nice job. So find a blanket if you want to pad your knees. And we'll come to knees on the blanket or the mat with the hands underneath the shoulders. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Your pointer fingers would make the number 11. So if that's not happening, you want to turn your hands slightly out a little bit. And then toes can be tucked or untucked. I'm going to vote for tucked if you can hang, as that will help us later. And then use an inhale breath to drop your belly low, lift your gaze, lift your tail. That probably feels really good. Exhale, push the mat away, chin to chest, puff your spine. Inhale, lengthen out the belly space. Drop it low, lift your tail, lift your gaze. Exhale, push. So there's more core work involved in the cat version as you round your spine and scoop your belly up. Inhale, relax belly, lift tail, lift heart. Exhale, push mat away, chin to chest, puff the spine, scoop your tail in. Let's do a couple more. Inhale, lengthen out. Exhale, round in, push with your hands, zip your navel up. 2 more. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose, push. Last one here. Inhale, find a little back bend, drop the belly. Exhale, push, scoop your tail in, belly to spine. Great. And then from here, keep your knees on your blanket if you prefer that padding. And find a neutral tabletop. So we're in the space between cat and cow. So no back bend, no big round, neutral pelvis. So somewhere in the middle. And then push down, especially with your right hand, and lengthen your left arm forward. My left arm is in line with my left ear. Now push with the right hand to puff the upper back on the right. And then while you're here, breathe and zip your navel up. Hold. Breathe. Notice if your belly wants to drop. See if you can zip it away from your shirt. Take another breath. And then replace. Left hand down. You're welcome to take a round of cat and cow in between. I think that kind of feels nice to move a little bit. And then once you do so, back to neutral tabletop. Push down with your left hand. Left arm really strong. Right arm reaches forward. Keep your right arm in line with your right ear. Lengthen your right side waist and push with your left hand. Puff the upper back on the left and scoop your belly up, 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 up. See if you can maintain sort of a neutral pelvis here. Doing something funky with your spine, not good. So keep a long spine, long tail. Last breath. Nice. Round of cat and cow if you'd like. You can also press back to child's pose if your wrists are giving you some hard time here. And then back to tabletop position. Let's isolate the core a little more. This time, push with both hands, spread your fingers, and sweep your right leg back behind you. So now we're balancing on just one leg. Push with your hands, so it's like you're almost trying to do down dog or plank pose. Really push, active arms, and then push out through your right heel like you want to stand on whatever is behind you. Firm the back of your right thigh, and then notice if you did big back bend. Yeah, we don't want that. We want neutral spine. Zip belly up, 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 up. rest of your spine, gaze at your fingers. Take another breath. Bottom of your breath, release that. Take a round of cat and cow if you'd like. I think I'm going to just press to child's pose for a moment. And then second side, push with your hands, spread your fingers, protraction of the shoulder blades. So really puff the upper back, and then our left leg does the floating. Flex your left heel. Firm the back of your left thigh like you want to push out through the foot on the left to stand behind you. Notice if your spine, your pelvis, your gaze did something funky. So we want to be a nice long line from head to left heel. Zip your belly up, up, up. Take another breath. Nice job, everybody. Lower left knee down. And then collectively, we'll all take child's pose. If you'd like cat-cow before that, you sure can. Widen your knees, sit your hips towards your heels. I like fingertips here. Press forward to lengthen the sides of your waist. You might get a nice little catch of space underneath your armpits. You can soften your head if you want. Take a big breath. And then we'll transition to downward facing dog when you're ready. You can ditch your blanket, set that to the side. Adho Mukha Svanasana when you're ready for dog pose. So, spread your fingers really wide. Thumb and first finger lead the way. Your pointer fingers are parallel. Knees will walk a little bit further back, so the distance between your wrists and your knees is a little longer. Tuck your toes and lift your hips back and up. Downward facing dog. You're welcome to move around a little bit. Might feel good to bend and straighten one knee. I really prefer the shake of my head. Carry a lot of tension in my neck. So yes and no, nodding feels really good. All right, and then let's find a really static dog. So push forward with your hands, spread your fingers, and relax your head so it's easy. The back of your neck is long. Firm your thighs. Any amount of bend in your knees is fine here, especially if your hamstrings are talking to you. And then relax your shoulders. So shoulders out of ears. Spin your biceps towards the ceiling, your triceps towards the floor. Get some external rotation in the arms here. And then what's the belly doing? Zip the navel away from your shirt, belly to spine. So here we are in another inversion. My heart is slightly higher than my head. It's a good opportunity to reverse the blood flow. Let's take 3 more breaths in dog. Firm your arms. Any amount, firm your legs, belly to spine. Bottom of your next breath or two. Don't let me rush you. You'll take a peek at your hands and start to walk your feet to your hands for hip distant or even wider forward fold. Relax your knees as much as you need to get fingertips to the floor or to a prop. And again, relax the head and the neck. And then keeping your knees as bent as you need, bring your fingertips outside of your pinky toes and relax, soften back of skull. Now, any amount, start to push into your fingers. Lift your shoulders away from your ears and then start to turn on your belly. Zip your navel away from your thighs. Again, heart higher than head, but supported with belly to spine. Lean any amount of your weight forward into the front of your feet. And take another big breath. Soften your jaw. Any amount, firm those thighs. Last breath. So active Uttanasana. Nice job, everybody. Bend your knees. Hands to hips. Slow rise to stand. Take a moment to orient to standing pose. Relax your arms by your sides. Tadasana. Great, from here, our standing series, starting with both feet on the floor, but moving into some balancing, of course. Please bring your feet right together so we zip up the inner line of the legs, inner thighs strong. Take a peek at your toes and see if you can spread them wide, and then a little bit of a tuck of your tail to stand up tall, chest up, belly back. Keep that and inhale, stretch your arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Lengthen through the sides of your waist. So there's so much going on in this pose. Reach through your hands, pull your navel back, and firm your kneecaps to your thighs. Take another inhale, get a little bit taller, and then as you exhale, sit low into Utkatasana, previously known as chair pose. I think the formal name now is fierce pose. So scoot a little bit of your weight back into your heels. See if you can see your toes. You'll notice mine are up and spread. They're not even on the mat. Sit a little deeper, tuck your tail in, and as you tuck your tail in, scoop your belly up. So low belly pulls up, pelvic floor engages. Squeeze your legs together. Take another breath, sit a little bit deeper. And then inhale, rest. Urdhva Hastasana, reach up. Exhale, release hands, heart center. Take a round of breath. Let's take a second set, Utkatasana. Big toes touch, legs squeeze together, inner thighs hug, belly pulls back. Inhale, reach up, Urdhva Hastasana. Lengthen the sides of your waist. Keep your belly pulled back, inhale, and as you exhale, sit low, Utkatasana. Now, no big back bend, so you'll notice I'm kind of doing it on purpose. We instead want to tuck the tail under and pull the low belly up. Sit a little bit deeper. You're welcome to reach forward or bring your hands to your hips, hold your elbows, your heart, whatever works. Spread your toes, put a little more weight in your heels. What's your belly doing? What's your breath doing? Last big inhale. Nice job. Reach up, exhale, and relax. Find Tadasana. Relax your arms. Great, let's move into a little standing balancing. So, right leg firm. Hug the outer right hip in. Take a peek at your right toes and spread them nice and wide. The feet are connected to the core as well, especially the ball mound of the big toe. So really press down there and then lift the arch of your foot. We want that sort of buoyancy in the feet to support the core. Left leg goes back behind you like a little kickstand. Don't lean forward. Lean back, pull your navel to your spine, and lift your left leg. Let's see if we can do hands to heart center. And hold. Firm the back of your left thigh. Firm your right heel like you're gonna push a hole through the floor because your right leg is so strong. Pull navel back, 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 like you wanna collect your ribs together. Take another breath. Great, release that. And we'll switch. Left leg takes the weight this time. Organize your left foot really well, spread your left toes. Push down through the big toe ball mound, as well as the outer edge of the pinky foot and the inner heel and outer heel. And lift up on the arch, so like buoyancy in your underside foot. Hands to hips, inhale, sweep the right leg back a little bit, pull navel to spine. Hands to prayer or hips if you can, keep your right back leg firm and hovering off the floor. Push down through the left foot like you want to dig a hole through the floor, lift taller through the crown of your head. Pull your belly back, last breath. Nice job, everybody. Release that. I'll turn to face you for a moment. Separate your feet about the distance of your hips. And again, spread your toes nice and wide. Root down through the big toe ball mound, pinky toe ball mound, inner heel, outer heel, and lift up through the arches. So that sort of action of buoyancy floating towards the ceiling. With an inhale breath, bring your arms in front of you, please. Join your palms. So we'll get into the shoulders a little bit more. Palms together. And then arms up overhead if you can. Any amount of bend in the elbows is okay. If you can keep your arms straight, that would be great. Then, notice the big belly, maybe back bend, something happening in our bellies here. So we don't want that. We want to scoop navel back, 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 so my trunk is right over my pelvis. Inhale, reach through my prayer hands. Exhale, bend elbows. Whew. Press the palms together and back. So as you do that subtly. You might feel a nice stretch under the underside of your arms. Pull your navel to your spine. Keep your torso stacked right over your hips. Press your palms together and back maybe a centimeter more. Open across the underside of the arms. Last breath. Super slow. Release Tadasana, arms by your sides. And then let's add in some lunging. So from your mat space, we'll step the right foot forward, right toes point forward, and then you'll step your left leg way back. As many steps as you need to get that organized. Hands to hips. Right knee over right heel on a nice 90-degree angle in the front of the right thigh, right hip. Now in the lunge, it's a little bit harder for us to pull the belly to the spine because the pelvis is already in this like anterior tilt. So really subtly, we want to try to drop the tail. You can do that more effectively if you bend your left knee and scoop your tail under your belly back, and then try to maintain that, and then refirm your left leg. Strong Anjaneyasana. When you're ready, arms up. Lengthen the sides of your waist. Pull your belly back. Firm your left bun. Same thing that we just did earlier. Join your palms. Maybe bend your elbows a little bit if you need to. Press your palms together, pull your belly back, and then in your lunge, push the hands back as you bend your elbows. Now my forearms are parallel to the ceiling. Maintain your core, keep your head on straight. Take another breath. Super slow exit, release your arms, hands to hips. See if you can step forward, Tadasana, pause. Bend your knees, left side. Left foot stays forward, right leg goes back. Check your left knee over your left heel here. And then reach back through your right heel and bring awareness to pelvis and core. So bend your right knee a little. Notice how that drops the low back a little bit. Tuck your tail in, pull your navel back, and then see if you can maintain that as you straighten your right leg any amount. Anjaneyasana, arms up. Lengthen the sides of your waist. Keep your legs really strong. Join your palms and bend elbows back any amount. Open the underside of your arm. Open across the chest as you push palms together and a little bit back. What's your breath like? How's your belly? Pull it to your spine. Last breath. Super slow exit. Release hands, release arms, legs, step together. Tadasana, find your breath. Great, and then from here, we'll turn and face the long way on our mats. So if you have yoga blocks or something to put under your hands, you may want that in front of you. So turn, so now you face one of the long edges of your mat. Bring your feet right together and bend your knees. Step really wide. Measure your distance by arms wide, hovering the wrist right over the outer ankles. My toes, all 10 of them point forward, and then kneecaps to thighs. Lift, firm, kneecaps up. Inhale, lift your chest, lift your heart, arms wide. As you exhale, start to hinge at your hips and fold forward. Now, you can bend your knees as much as you need to get your fingertips to the floor. You could also maybe play with keeping your legs straight and coming onto a prop of some kind so the earth is closer to you. Now, halfway lift here, lengthen your spine. Inhale, heart forward, chest forward. And then as you exhale, you can start to round. Walk the hands any amount closer to the middle between your heels. And again, any amount of bend in the knees is okay. Drop the back of your head and lift your shoulders away from your ears. Without moving your heels, I want you to imagine you could squeeze them together on your mat. That'll firm inner thighs. And then let's pay attention to the belly. What's it doing? Lift it back and up towards the spine as you slightly shift your weight a little forward. Another opportunity where heart is higher than head. Relax your skull, take another big breath, firm your legs if you can. And then slow, slow walk to the halfway lift, fingertips under my shoulders, lift and lengthen. And then bend your knees a little more, bring your hands to your hips, lift your spine, and step, step, feet together. Tadasana, find your breath. Stay facing the long side of your mat. We'll take another approach into a different pose. Step really wide, so super wide. This may be a good place for a yoga block if you have one of those as well, so keep that nearby. And then please turn your right toes to the right to face the short right side of your mat. And then turn your left toes in just a little bit, like 45-degree angle. But keep your torso, your hips facing the long left side of your mat. Make sure your right heel would bisect into that left arch. And then arms wide to the side, just like we did before. Inhale. As you exhale, lean to the right. Stay in the lateral plane as you drop your right hand to your shin or a yoga block and your left arm straight up, Utthita Trikonasana. Now, no round forward. We want to open the chest, almost like you want to lean back a little bit. Press down through the ball mount of your right foot and zip your right kneecap to your thigh. Rotate your left shoulder back and your right ribs under for the open twist. If it feels okay on your neck, you could look at your left fingers. Take another breath, firm your thighs, lean back just a smidge. And then hand on the left to the hip, bend your right knee as you rise up, and we'll switch, other side. Right heel, right foot turns in about 45 degrees. Left toes turn to the left short edge of your mat. My torso, my hips-ish, so a little bit harder in triangle pose, trying to stay in the lateral plane. Zip your kneecaps to your thighs, arms go wide to the side. Inhale. As you exhale, lean to the left. Drop your left hand to your shin or a block. I like the tall side block personally, because then my left side waist can stay really long. Now, we don't want to round towards the left leg. We want to open away from it. Lengthen through your right fingers. Press down through the ball mount of your left foot, left toe. Big toe, rather. And without moving your heels, imagine you could squeeze them together, firm your inner thighs. Look at your right hand. If it feels okay on your neck, lean back a little bit as you roll right shoulder back, left shoulder forward. Good. Right hand to hip, bend your left knee to rise, hands to hips, toes face the long edge of your mat, and you'll step, step, feet together. Find your breath. From here, you can clear your mat space, please, and we'll find our final downward facing dog before we set up for our peak pose. So come down to your mat when you're ready. Spread your fingers really wide. Push down with your hands. Tuck your toes. Push with your arms. Lift your hips. Downward facing dog. So just check out your dog after several standing poses. Does it feel any different? Soften the back of your neck. And then when you're ready for some static dog, please be still and find 3 to 5 breaths, allowing your head to relax, but keep your arms and your legs strong, belly to spine. So you can imagine that little pull of your navel and your low ribs back as if you're trying to move the belly space away from your shirt. Relax your jaw, relax your tongue. Last big pose here before we take a softer head, lower than heart shape. When you feel ready, you have the choice. Child's pose, if you want, knees together, hips to heels, arms can be really passive, stretched forward, elbows down. I'm going to take a moment to just sit on my heels. You're welcome to take a seat, finding either shape I've mentioned or something else to just bring you a little bit closer to the floor and to soften. Take a few rounds of breath wherever you have landed. And then when you're ready, this is sort of our peak setup time. So we've worked really hard in the core sheath in several different shapes to get to where we're headed, and which is actually a restorative pose. So I'm hoping for maybe a little celebration with that. My plan is to stay in it for several minutes. So if you have a chair, now would be the time to put it on your yoga mat towards one end with the seat facing you. And if you have a chair, don't worry if you don't, I'll give you all sorts of instruction for other options in a moment. You may want to put a blanket on the chair seat for some padding. Then, your other blanket, if you have it, is going to go right in front of the chair. So you've got this bolster and then a blanket maybe on the chair seat facing you. Now, if you're doing this last pose, the best way in is from your side. So you'll get onto your edge of your blanket, your right hip, coming down onto your side body, and then you'll roll to your back. And I'm a little bit too close here, so I'll have to scoot away. You might want to move your base blanket away from the front edge of your chair by about a foot. So we're in this lovely inversion where my heart is a little higher than my head. My pelvis gets nice support and my legs get to rest. So we're sort of reversing the blood flow. So my plan is to stay here, my arms overhead, and enjoy. Now, if you are not in this shape because you don't have the props, do not worry. Here are some other options. So those of you who are working with your chair, go ahead and get your setup. If you have a wall, option 2. So you'll put a bolster or blanket in front of your wall setup, and then the same entry is necessary. So you'll lie on your side and bring your feet up. So again, second option for the wall, if you want to use it. My pelvis is lifted because of my blanket. And again, I've got my heart a little higher than my head. So that's option 2. Final option is with your couch. So you could do the same thing with your bolster set up right in front of the seat of a couch. Roll down on your side and bring the legs up. If you don't have any of those options, no worries. Please lie on your back. Option to put a blanket underneath your back pelvis if you'd like. All right, yogis. So wherever you are, we're looking to find stillness. We're looking to really soften around the belly space. Allow for that core sheath to just really relax here. And then taking a moment to organize your head, chin slightly towards chest. Relax your tongue, relax your jaw. So the opportunity to reverse a little bit of the blood flow is really, really real here. So see if you can be super soft, super easy as we rest intentionally for the next 4 to 5 minutes. So just keep your face really soft, your body really easy, whatever shape you've ended up in. Find your breath and allow for your breath to keep you present. So Shavasana, or in today's case with our peak pose of Vipariti Karani, which translates as legs up the wall, or chair, or couch, or whatever you've got. In today's case, it's really about stillness, effortlessness. It's not napping. So be still, be soft, but allow your breath to keep you present. And I'll guide you out when it's time. And please bring awareness back to your breath. And then when you feel ready to start deepening your breath a little bit, please begin to do so. And cultivating nice big belly breath. And when it feels appropriate, just really slowly bringing movement to the head. Rock your head right and left. And bring a little movement to the fingers, to the toes. could stay a few more minutes. I really encourage that. The stilling practices, the static practice is equally as important as all the alignment and activation, so please feel free to stay. If you're on a chair or the wall or your couch, whatever you've got, just bend your knees and you'll take a slow roll off to your right side. So really slow, like you're moving through mud. Rest on your right side for a breath. And then see if you can keep your head heavy as you slowly press yourself up to a seat. And so we'll take our final pose in a seated position that's comfortable for you. Root down through your sitting bones, lengthen through your spine, close your eyes. Soften your jaw, soften your tongue, and allow for the experience of practice to really seep in. So just really tuning into how you feel in your breath, in your awareness, and your thoughts, your reactions, and your physical structure. Can you really be absorptive, receptive to this work? And then with an inhalation, we'll bring hands to heart center. If you'd like a small bow, chin to chest, you're welcome to do so. So may this practice of yoga not only help us to keep a healthy core, a strong core to support our physical well-being, but also allow us to practice both effort, engagement, and ease and stillness. And thank you all so much for joining me today. Really nice work. Namaste.